Welcome to the moment. This is the second episode, and we're going to talk about Gigachads.
Yeah, it's something that's really taken over the internet by storm as a cure-all for the masculinity crisis, let's call it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just go hit the gym, be hyper aggressive, be the alpha male. And my particular problem with that is everybody I've ever encountered has got a different personality type, and I don't know if all these tests that we take are 100% accurate, or maybe there's more personality types or whatever. But I think it's totally ignoring that each of us kind of play a role, and different women are attracted to different types of men that fill those roles. There's this misconception that all women want one type of man, this Gigachad, and I think it's bullshit. Women like all kinds of different people.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's like that like one size fits all like thing that this is what it needs to be, and like yeah, definitely we're all different, and we have all like our different roles that we're to play, and yeah, it's kind of insane to try to like force every single man into one mold of the whole Gigachad thing.
And that's not to say women don't want you to be successful. That you still have to be successful, and have some resources, and have a home, and people, some stability, let's say. But there are many ways you can go about getting your money and resources in this world rather than being a Gigachad. It's just a wall that all these hit, realizing that they're meant to do something else. I don't know what that is. I'm not here to tell anybody what that is, but I just think that a lot of dudes are being led astray and becoming mean. They're just becoming downright mean and nasty people with this Gigachad mentality. That's what I've found anyway, in these Twitter spaces I've been in. Yeah. And we could get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the same, or like it's like a different thing, but it's like the whole incel phenomena too that you have. It's like those they basically just hate women. That's like a whole other that's a whole other kind of worms, really. But it's like it has to do, I think, with the same crisis of masculinity that is going on. Pretty much, and I think that's the underlying cause of it all.
Yeah, that's a great point. It very well looks like it's revenge of the incels. There's a lot of anger in this Gigachad circle. Alpha male is the only way type of philosophy.
Yeah,
because a lot of these people, I don't think they are in relationships with women. I don't think they can, and so they're just and a lot of these people also, I don't think, are going to the gym either. A lot of these profiles and things I've seen on Twitter of these people that retweet Gigachad things and memes, they don't even have pictures of themselves up on there. So that's another point I want to bring up. But it's a lot of LARPing, fake fakeness. They're not really working out. They're watching videos of dudes that do work out and paying the money, and then I don't think they themselves are working out. Because otherwise they would post pictures, right? They would be proud, but like, look at my arm, how big I got, or something like that. But
You would think
That's
so, but yeah, it's
yeah,
it's like a very weird meme, and I don't know. Like, I really think that one thing that is like crucial in this as well is that because I've been in those like incel groups myself, and I've seen some Gigachad groups as well, and from what I've noticed from like interacting with a lot of these people, it seems like that the overall like initiation into manhood is kind of missing, and they have like some weird warped view of what a man is supposed to be, like either like with the
absolutely.
incels or with the giga chat thing. It's like they have some weird warped view of it, and it's just I don't know, but I think that it also kind of comes from like the way that the culture portrays masculinity in this very like hero archetype way, which is which by the way is a childhood archetype, and it's very immature in that sense, like how that is like being portrayed, and I really feel that what is missing is the proper structure that allows men to become their own man, in their own individual man, not just some cookie cutter gigachad or like whatever
Yeah.
else kind of weird shit.
There's a yeah. This is another great thing. We have a loss of a monoculture. You know, one culture that kind of dominates everything.
Yeah.
So before there was like the monoculture provided the rite of passage. You're like, this is what you got to do. You know, like in England, a lot of people romanticize knights. You know, if you're going to become a knight, you had to decide when you were like a teenager. When you were going through puberty, you had to be like, I'm going to go off and live with the knights, and I'm going to learn how to, you
Yep.
know, be a chivalrous knight, not only to defend the land, but make sure that there's no corrupt people, because the knights were separate from the king. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
had their own like let's say guild,
Yep.
and you would go join the guild when you were 12 or 13, and you would make your own armor. You would learn how to blacksmith. You would learn how to fight. You would learn how to build bridges. You would learn. So you learn multiple things with these
Mm-hmm.
dudes. And it
Yep.
was like, if you wanted to do that, that's your rite of passage. You know, you had a you in the kingdom, in that monoculture, there was a way for each personality type
Yep.
to fulfill their role, their lot in life, their thing that they're going to be good at. And usually everybody knew you could figure that out by the time you were 13. And then you need to start working, because your body will grow into that profession. So when they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go become a knight, they had to wear their armor every day while they, you know, moved hay, worked out in the field, everything. So as they grew up,
Mm-hmm.
their body was used to that heavy armor, that plate armor. So they literally grew into that role, and that's what's missing. It's too late. By the time we're 18, 22, our body's grown into sitting around
Yeah.
reading, sitting, you know what I'm saying? So we haven't embodied our roles. It might be a lost thing, but I don't know if we could like all of a sudden transform our bodies while we're not going through puberty or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But
I don't know. Maybe
I
to
think
some degree,
there's a
but
missing
yeah.
part. I think there's a missing part there, and it has something to do with that.
Yeah. Definitely. The thing is that in ancient cultures also that they would have those like type of rituals in which they would I mean uh, one of which was that the men were dressed up as kind of monsters, and they were like representative of like the unknown and death and like yeah, basically the dark aspects. And then the boys would be at when they would turn a certain age, they would be taken by those which they would be basically taught to be afraid of, and then they would find out that they were the men of the tribe, and then they were initiated into that, and then it was like, yeah, we used to have like those type of rituals in which like symbolically the boy died and the man was born, and then they were they would fulfill, like, yeah, they would fulfill their role, and they would learn, or like they would grow into that, like you said, and that type of ritual is missing.
Well, we're not allowed to be adults when we're 13, 14. We're still little baby children. We're still being protected. But all throughout human history, it was like, okay, it's go time. Your body's changing. Something's going on. While it's changing, let's get it to change into what you're going to be doing the rest of your life. And I don't know why we stopped. I don't know what happened. But we extended our childhood into our 30s is what has happened.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like, totally. Like,
and everybody treats you like you're retarded until you're 30. I don't know why, but that's the truth. They're like, you're not anything unless you have 30 years worth of knowledge. And I don't know. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, for instance, like a 16-year-old person that maybe since they were 12 was doing blacksmithing, you would usually trust them to shoe your horse or something, or I don't know. You would have you would have a lot of responsibility before you were even 20 years old. And maybe part of that is because, people didn't live that long. So it's like, hurry up. You don't have that much time. You might die right now and in the middle of learning or your training. So that maybe our extended lifespans have really messed us up in that way too. It's like, the vampire syndrome. Like, you have vampires in all these stories. They get bored and they don't know what to do with themselves because they're alive so long.
I don't know. Maybe.
So that situation. Our lifespan is like quadrupled.
Yeah, but like for sure, that's like, yeah, that's one thing that's missing with regarding to like that type of ritual. And then you kind of have that with the hero archetype and all that, like how things are being portrayed. You kind of have that. You kind of have that the culture doesn't really give that that platform, that structure anymore, in which kind of the boy grows up to be a man, where the ego of the boy dies and is reborn into a man, in that sense, and then gets guided into a specific type of a thing they are meant to be doing, based on their personality type, based on who they are, in that sense. And I don't know, like, I don't know about like the current generation and the current generations in general, but I feel like if we want to change anything about any of this, it's kind of that structure needs to be there again. That's kind of what I'm feeling, and
I think people can do it with their own kids. We can, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but me personally, with my children, I want, when they're getting to be, changing into a teenager and growing up into adult, I want them to know the basics of what in the world reality is, and what, have some kind of skill that they can grow into so that they're not so lost. I feel like, people tell their kids, you have enough time, you have all the time, be a kid, enjoy it. It's like, no, maybe they shouldn't be running around having fun and eating candy. Maybe that's really bad. They shouldn't watch cartoons and play video games all day. That's probably really bad too. But if they're working together in a social situation, playing games where they're learning how to interact with the world, I think that's a good thing. I remember when I was a kid, people still had, the kids still went out on the playgrounds and they would play these weird little games like, let's get married. This jungle gym is my house and these are the rules. And looking back, it's kind of weird that we did that, but not really. We're trying to figure out what our roles are in a house. Who are you attracted to? Who are you going to fake marry on the playground? I don't know if that's a widespread concept, but we did that over here, and I think other kids used to do that all the time. You see old
Yeah.
episodes of Little House on the Prairie, and there's like episodes of that. It's nothing serious. They just give each other a kiss on the cheek or something, and then everybody's like, "Oh, look!" So all the kids would line up in a row, and these two kids would walk in between the rows of children, and they would act like they're getting married. I
Yeah.
don't think kids anymore. They don't play things out. They don't act it out. They don't embody anything. They
Yeah.
play it on a video game now.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like part, and that sense part of the problem, that like, yeah, that these things aren't properly embodied anymore. And the thing is that I feel like, yeah, it's because of that missing structure that used to be there within the culture. In general, it would have been something that like men in general would have done together in their own ways. It would have been different per village, per person, like exactly how it would have happened. But the thing is like that. But yeah, that's kind of like now gone, and now you have that. A lot of men are kind of lost in that sense, and kind of stuck in that like childhood mode, and have and are basically trying to figure out to the best of their abilities, like what is a man supposed to be. But it just, yeah, getting a bit like weird in that sense.
Yeah, I also think a lot of them have not hung out with women, a lot of women, in a friendly way. Maybe they are always, seeing them in one way or another way, or threatened by them because maybe some issues with their mom or whatever, single mother syndrome or whatever people want to call that. The broken family, the broken nuclear family has caused a lot of fallout, a lot of nuclear fallout in different ways. And
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like a mutation. Everybody's a gamer now. Fallout, the mutants. This is just another mutant, this Gigachad thing that has come out of
Mm-hmm.
all the shit that's happened in the 20th century, all the
Yeah.
social experiments,
Yeah.
all the, yeah, like let's swap gender roles, let's do this, like let's do that, and I think it's messed everybody up. But
Yeah, no, but the thing is that, yeah, but it used to be like a community thing with all the men banding together, and I think that may be like a potential answer, like different men forming like their own like structures, or healthy structures in that sense, to like
yeah,
build towards something. I mean, even if it would mean that for the current generations of men that it wouldn't work, but I mean at least for those that will come after, like to try to figure
yeah,
out to the best of our own abilities, to like make sure that like the next generation of potential men would have that opportunity to grow into that role, and into who they are as men, and
yeah.
so
I
they
think
can
the
fulfill
primary
it.
problem is the public school systems.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been to any of them lately, if you have a little nephew or a niece or something, someone in your family, gone to one of their recitals or something, the way their schools are now is a prison. Um,
Yeah.
no cup. They're not allowed to talk. They have to go in single file line and not speak to each other. And now they got all these other regulations now because of the virus and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't. But anyway, it's just like there's no play, there's no talking, there's no social interaction. And I think that dovetails into a whole lot of this autism that people want to say is on the rise. That's they're
Yeah.
not. Imagine you have a child that is locked in a room with no sensory interaction, and they come out of that room. That some kids have been blind and stuff. These Unit 571, these horrible Japanese experiments. They've done this to kids and
I've
found
heard
out
about
what
it. Yeah.
yeah, it's horrible. We won't get into that. It's horrible, but
Yeah.
they have this information, and it's showing this same stuff is going on. The kids are not playing. They're not acting like they're getting married. They're not acting like they're having a house. They're not acting like mommy and daddy. And
Yeah.
and then there was what was interesting. There'd be all the different grades of kids will be playing, and the younger kids, some of the other kids would be like, "This is our children, and we're going to make sure they're okay and take care of them." Um, and I then they would get like pine cones and sticks and act like they're making a meal or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They would just be playing. They would be imagining. None of that can happen. And then the boys,
Yeah.
when they would be in a group alone, they would take the same pine cones and sticks and make grenades and guns out of them, and
Mm-hmm.
throw them at each other. So
Yeah.
the imagination
Yeah.
is gone now. The playing is gone, and that means that we can't become adults now because we're stuck. The playing is critical to our development. That's what Piaget said. He was a child psychologist, and he studied
That's
their
true.
development, and he said it's absolutely critical. They'll become retarded if they don't play, if they don't interact, if they don't learn.
Yeah, but yeah, it has to do with the with what like Carl Jung would call the anima, or like really the relating function. So it's like they're training how to relate to the world, and if you take that away from a child, you cripple their development, and of course you
Yeah,
would probably label them as autistic because um, the matter of the fact is that they would come across as pretty autistic because they haven't been practicing their social skills, because a lot of those
yeah,
things are fucking learned. They're learned behaviors. They're not
yeah,
inherent in people, and if they cannot express them through play, then you basically just create like socially stunted people basically, and
yeah.
and loads of like need for like trauma healing in that sense to like get through it. I mean,
Constant trauma, crystal, chakra, humming, vibrations, oming, constant. They'll always need it because they don't know who the fuck they are. I don't know, if you can. I don't know if you can. I don't know how to help that personally. I'm not saying there's no hope. Me, just personally, from where I'm sitting, I don't know what kind of life raft I could throw out, or if I have a rope long enough, or even what the situation is,
yeah.
because your brain is growing at that point, and if it's not getting this input, I don't know what can happen. I don't know. I don't know if you have the equipment in your brain, or if it is like a lint. You know how everybody wears shoes now,
Mm-hmm.
and your pinky toe is just kind of like squished in with the rest of your toes.
Yeah.
Everybody's shoes are too tight, man. We can hardly dance, and your pinky toe is just still there, but it's broken. I think a lot of our brains are like that now. We've got
Uh-huh.
the shoes of society on, or the shoes of the public school, and it just squishes your mind down into this dysfunctional, ugly. Cause you ever walk around with your bare feet and your pinky toe? I wish it was functional, but I've worn shoes too long. How do I fix it? Is what my point is.
Uh-huh.
I think that's what we've done. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but in that sense, like looking at like where I was at in the past, because most of my primary school and most of what happened with regarding my own past kind of caused me to be, to some degree at least, socially awkward and having like a lot of trouble regarding that. And really like a lot of. There's actually help from one older dude from one company I worked at that actually helped me out, and actually his help and guidance helped me to like open up and learn things later on. But I don't know like if that totally negates it, but it's like it is possible to learn certain social skills later in life, and to like move past the hero archetype, or like in that sense, because kind of what is happening is in that sense is this, that the child is never fully allowed to form their own well-balanced ego, in that sense, their well-balanced own identity, if they
Right.
cannot interact through play and like that find out like who they are in that manner. So they never fully develop. And the thing is that what it kind of causes is that you do not form any kind of like or like an individual sense of self, really, because the thing is that you're kind of still stuck in that like parental mode, and in the societal mode, and really that has taken the role of the parent in that sense.
Right. Yeah, the government. Yeah, the government mothers and fathers that are our teachers and professors.
Yeah, and the thing is that what it kind of does is that it keeps the consciousness of the individual shackled to the system, and they cannot really develop themselves further unless they
Yeah.
go that length with the hero archetype and face those forces, face whatever trauma or whatever else happened to them, and then move through it, and start to find out like who they truly are. But the thing is that it doesn't really happen a lot, and there's not really the structure there for that to happen. And a lot of like a lot of the people, they end up medicated, or they just go into some other weird stuff. But like yeah, they kind of need
Oh,
like
yeah, lost in cults, like,
yeah.
and we can get into that, people, the NFT grift, all these different little cults forming of desperate people that need someone to tell them what to do for $100 a month. Um, that's where this goes.
Yeah, but yeah, in that sense, for me, I call it the devourer archetype, like Kronos, like because of the sense of that, like their consciousness is basically like contained within the system, and they within that framework, and they yeah, it strangles them in that sense. Like they're never really fully allowed to become who they truly are in that sense. Not in that type of education system where you're not allowed to play, not allowed to through interacting with the world and others to really find out who you are. It basically strangles them into and holds them into like a childlike state. and
Yeah,
and there are
I think
yeah.
it's time we take off the proverbial mental shoes society's put on us, and
Yeah.
go barefoot, and what that means, and what I'm seeing, um, is parents taking a proactive role in their children's education and homeschooling them. Finding other ways to make their house work more like a kingdom, more like this is their internal operation. I'm not going to rely on the state or anybody else to feed me, to educate my children, to do X, Y, and Z. What we've done is we've outsourced the job of the mother and the father to where the state has taken on everything. And what the result of that is all these fucked up people everywhere that don't feel like their mom and dad love them. I think is the center of it.
Yeah.
That their dad didn't teach them how to swing a hammer. Their mom didn't teach them what women are like and how to treat a lady. The mothers didn't teach their daughters how to be a lady. The fathers didn't teach their sons how to be a warrior, but be kind. Don't be an asshole. The fathers didn't punish their kids. There's no punishment in the home from the father. The father's kicked out, cast out. So there's just, like I said, a lot of fallout from blowing apart the nuclear family, splitting the atom of the human family has created this explosion. This radiation is terrible. It's just all, we got to find out how to clean it all up. I guess one step at a time, but it's hard figuring out what that first step is, or what to tell people.
Yeah, no, but
I feel like everybody wants to tell everybody what they know for sure, but then it's like, that's not real, that's a trap.
Yeah, and in that sense, the only thing that I can say is that, I mean, every single person needs to go on that on that like hero's journey on their own terms, and go down there and try to figure out who the fuck they are, and face and in that sense face like the mental framework that has been like imposed upon us from childhood, and like dare to just step outside of it, because that's also kind of with like the old rituals. A part of it is to like for instance with Sparta, that they would either like the child or like the teenager needed to face a wolf, or was made an outcast and needed to fend for themselves. But the whole idea was to push them outside of the constraints of the mother of society, in that sense, to push them further. To dare to go into the unknown, where things are scary, and know that you can make that.
Right. I heard this dude, his name's John Stossel. He's like a news journalist or something over here in America, and he said 1% of people make things happen, 9% of people watch them do it, and then in the other 90% of people are like, hey, wait, whoa, what just happened? What's going on? I tend to think, the numbers might vary, but that's kind of true. A lot of people don't, I don't know, as they say, have, the NPC meme goes. A lot of people are just like checked out of reality, just kind of in the background, going through the motions of, the programming. The parents as well. The parents are just like, oh, I'm supposed to send my kids to school. I don't know what else to do. There's no other options. And then there gets to be a narrow field of where things go. And 9% of the people are screaming at everybody, oh my God, do you see what's happening? This is horrible. We're totally aware of this, and we're this is bad. And then they nobody even registers them. And then again, the 1% of people continue on to go about and do whatever they like to do. Do you agree with that? And if you do, why do you think that is? So few people are actors, and everybody else is just kind of followers.
Honestly, I think part of it is kind of caused by the fact that of how society is like set up currently, like how, because I mean, if you look at like education is basically set up to create people that obey, people that follow certain a certain framework that they fit in, certain script. And the thing is that a lot of people might just be like, yeah, not knowing what else to do, so they just do what they were told by others, or like yeah. And I think it has to do with the teaching people in education how to think and to dare to venture outward, to dare to do things differently. And it's kind of like taken out of the equation, kind of. They're trying to it's like it's trying to be like, yeah, it's like kind of suppressed in that sense, because within society, I mean, in old tribes, you used to have like the tribal innovator people, the order enforcer types, the ones at the core, the leader types, and then the more like mediator types, and they had all their like their particular roles within society. And the thing is that the innovator types, they would be the ones to explore new ventures, new ways of doing things, and kind of just feels that
The
everything,
cities just got too big.
yeah,
Like what I've noticed in big cities that I've been to, there's still like only a few people that filled these roles that you're talking about, like the city's innovator. Oh, this guy, the city's artist, that guy over there, the guy with all the money, and they all hang out in these similar places. They're like the celebrities. But the problem, I think, is there's so many people just following them around, not being their own celebrities somewhere else. Like, we're not breaking off into smaller towns. I think it's happening now.
yeah,
A lot of people are dumping out of cities. They're leaving. They're going out and making these smaller towns a little bit bigger, and that's going to be an interesting mixture of culture.
yeah,
Because these people are going to have to kind of accommodate to this culture. They're moving out there most likely because they see the benefits of this culture instead of the city one, and they're going to maybe try on a farmer hat for size and see if that's better. I think
yeah.
it will be. I think people will be happier.
I think
People
so
I know,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but the thing is that from the very beginning, like the education system, like how it's set up, is just um, yeah, it's just set up in a very like militaristic manner. And the thing is that it doesn't yeah, it's not something that creates individuals. It creates cogs for the machine to keep
Yeah.
society running. And the thing is that something more is needed for people to become individuals.
And
And I
well,
think,
what's worse is the cogs don't even work anymore.
yeah, yeah, but
People be coming out of school don't know how to work at all, man. I ran a business
yeah,
for a long time, and I tried to hire several people, and they could not complete a task. They would have an attitude with me. They would argue with me, and I had to fire all kinds of people, man, because they're not only unsocialized but they're unskilled.
yeah, but I think that's um, I think that's just a part of the problem with education, like the entire system in general, with like the lack of play, first of all, the lack of like proper like social interaction with others and the world. And then next to that is that what you're being taught within the education system is not aligned with anything in the real world. It's
Yeah,
something completely detached from it, and in that
and
sense,
even when Yeah, even when they're out in the real world, they still won't realize it, and they'll argue with you.
Yeah.
When I think, people just trying to tell them, let's get real, man. That's not the way reality is, and we're just trying to help them out. But then there's all this vitriol, hatred, straw mans. They'll call you, all kinds of names. You name it. They'll call you the worst people ever on the planet. They'll make up whatever to justify their hatred and confusion towards you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but overall, I think I wouldn't put in that sense like any of the the blame on those on those people. It's the main factor, especially with like to stick to like the crisis of masculinity. It's just the lack of any fucking structure whatsoever that would fulfill that, like community wide, and the fact that the education system and how and in that sense how society has been set up isn't focused on having here this kingdom, and you have all these different actors playing their different roles to keep the whole running and to keep the whole flourishing. It's more of a mass production of stamping, trying to stamp basically books into people's heads. They come out of it, they don't know really what the fuck they're doing, and then they're basically told like, oh, you all need to compete with each other. It's like the whole thing with the Gigachads too. There's like that mentality of competition, like you need to dominate these other men. You have to become a Gigachad. You have to become that 10 out of 10 Gigachad person to like be on top. And I kind of feel like what is missing is that perspective of that we as men are all playing a different part, and that we should be in that sense helping each other, grow in one sense, and in the other really that and really see that like we are all playing a different part. There's not like a competition going on in that sense, and you wouldn't want a competition going on within the same tribe, in the same society. You wouldn't want that.
Not a bad one, not a unhealthy one,
Yeah.
But competition, like playing a board game or something, or playing some kind of game to hone your skills together. I think friendly competition is very helpful, but you got to have good sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And shake each other's hands and really not have any bad feelings. And I think games also reveal sore losers, and we can address those problems however the tribe wants. You can go talk to them. You can kick them out if you're that extreme, or you could punish them if you still want to keep them around. It's up to that tribe. But I agree that bad, nasty feeling competition and just shitting on people to try to dominate them, that's fucked up. I hate that. That does not help anything either.
Yeah, and the thing is that type of behavior of just shitting on each other is, I mean, it's not leading to a society that's flourishing at all, because it's just all becomes then everyone for their own, just a free for all, and then the only thing you end up getting is just confusion and chaos, because it becomes very chaotic, because there's like no center, no structure anymore there to like make sense of, and then you have. And then on top of that, really like the hucksters and those type of people trying to profit off of men who really need the fucking help, and in that sense, it's just
well, I want to break
bad.
something up before I forget it.
Yeah.
Let me just say, okay, let's take James Dowling and Steph.
Yeah.
And what happened with them. Okay, I think this is a great example of what I'm trying to illustrate. A lot of people are just so fucked up in the head. They're gonna just pick the guy saying all of the over romanticized things. The guy that's being logical, that's being concise, being very specific, thinking carefully, not trying to be popular, doesn't tend to win the popularity contest.
Yeah.
He's over there. James is over there doing great work. I follow him. I follow the other couple that he works with, and they're great. They have wonderful videos. Probably some of the best Jungian psychological videos that I still follow. And but he doesn't. They don't have a lot of people over there,
Yeah.
But I think they have a good spirit. They have they're trying to find what is true. They're not trying to fluff anything up and make themselves look good. They're just trying to deliver the news to you, so to speak, the good news or the bad news, but to the best of their ability. And I respect that a lot, and that's why I kept up with them. But I think that's the situation. There's always going to be the majority of people for whatever reason doing this, and I'm tending towards the direction of like, okay, how do we just avoid them now? I don't know so much about changing everything and doing. I don't know if you can. I don't know. You might get hurt also really badly trying to get into the fight of this chaos and bring order to it all. And I'm like, what is that gonna? I don't know. I don't know what that will bring upon me and my family. Let's say.
In that sense, like, one man, like, nah. I mean, in that sense, the only thing what I would say is this, that not to go into the fight, because if you go into the fight, you'll, like in many mythological stories, you'll either lose your arm or you'll lose one eye or whatever other body part.
Yeah.
And the thing is that in that sense, what I feel like what we can do is to together with like the men who are basically like, we want to just avoid this shit, build our own structures and really like the healthy masculine structures in that sense, like something that's like to for everyone in the tribe to flourish. And to have have in that sense like a friendly competition spirit instead of the nasty one, and like you're trying to like hone your skills, help each other, and to grow together in that sense, and that would probably attract at least some people. But the thing is, like, will it attract everyone? Probably not. There's always going to be people that would end up following some of those other people. But I mean, hey, they're free to choose.
Yeah, that's right. They're free to choose, exactly. And I think it's exciting, really. I used to be like, oh no, we're all going to fight this. We're going to have a civil war. Like, no, we all just ended up going in separate directions. And I'm kind of getting excited about this notion too about digital nations. Right now we have our own separate discords and things, but what I'm noticing is a lot of people I talk to, we watch a lot of the same YouTube videos. We watch a lot of we're in the same circles, same communities. So inevitably we're going to become nations of like 1 or 2 million people online that interact. And then we're going to have our own little hierarchies and ecosystems and ideas and our own tribe's way of dealing with intelligence to generate. And that's going to be very interesting as we get more into, figuring out how to get our own old servers. Like I play this really old game from 2000, and this dude got his own servers and got everything, and it can run this old game. And as we get further in the future, just like with cars, people are going to have this what was once super advanced business enterprise server technology in their basement.
True.
And we're going to be able to do all kinds of crazy digital interactions, projects with each other.
It'll
be cool.
Yeah, I do see that happening. That something along those lines would happen, and it would probably also spill out in some local, like real world sense as well. Like because I can see that happening. That there would be people that would actually live close to each other, that would end up in similar, or like the same like community in that sense. But I
Well,
think
yeah,
that
with like a digital nation, you could like have your own financial whatever. That's what I mean. Like you could get into crazy stuff. People have talked about buying oil rigs and inhabiting them because they're in neutral territory. Just doing actual nation building stuff, and raising big money together. Um, that all kinds of stuff could happen.
yeah, in that sense, yeah, and not. I mean, I'm not really seeing it just with regard to that, but the thing is that I'm also seeing that there are more and more people that are just starting to be like, with all of this stuff that's going on, like, nah, it's gonna do my own thing, and um, they're just like trying to like basically tune out from the overall like societal stuff that is happening, and I can see that also I can see that happening, that one would have like different real world communities of people that are basically just gonna end up living
Are
together.
you familiar with Scientology and Sea Org?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know they're evil and all of that, and they're weird and creepy, but
Yeah.
you know, I think people can take a page from the nation building they've done. They've acquired large swaths of land all across the world. They have a fleet of ships. They own, these weird oil rigs where they have facilities and refueling stations. Like they built a nation in less than 100 years, and they are separate from the government. They're separate from society. They're doing weird shit, man. I don't know what they're doing, but my point
Yeah.
is, they did it. Good people could do that too, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, why
and make
not?
it open. Yeah, and make it like not sign a contract to sell your soul for 1,000,000 years. Maybe we could like, hey, come into this society and help and work, and you have some skills, like cool, send us your resume or whatever. You could like apply anything goes, man. You could do whatever you want. But you
Hmm.
could figure out who you want in your society, who you don't, build your own nation, um, or leave it open. Like California lets everybody live over there, and that's a social experiment. And
Yep.
everybody that used to live there is leaving now. They don't like it, so they're going to Texas. Experiment failed. Elon Musk, he moved SpaceX to Texas. It used to be in California.
Yeah.
Too dangerous over there. So
Yeah.
it's you can do whatever you want, but the people will vote with their feet and they'll vote with their dollar.
Yeah. In the end, yes. Yeah, that's true. Totally true. And yeah, but yeah, coming back to the whole like Gigachad thing, it's just like, yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. It's like with like the structure that's been built, like with education and like and within society in general, like how it's been set up. It's very it's very like yeah, militaristic, and in that sense devouring a father archetype kind of approach. And the thing is that, yeah, I definitely think that if like men, but also women for that matter, or men and women would come together and create their own healthy structures, that would on its own start a shift. Because the thing is, like,
Yeah.
fighting in there is not going to help. I've tried, and the thing is that doesn't help one fucking bit. And that's and I think it's honestly just time to basically just take our own power away from the whole thing, or attention that we feed, that we would have fed into it, and start doing our own thing, building our own
Oh yeah.
communities, and like in that sense, help each other out.
Yeah, and whoever like has something that people like, they'll be attracted to it naturally.
Yeah,
I think a lot of this stuff we're seeing, YouTube influencers yelling at the screen, getting people on their show and they're yelling at them and saying, "Oh, you haven't read this book? Well, you can't have this argument. You're stupid," and all this fake intellectualism.
mm-hmm.
For some reason, a lot of people are attracted to it, but a lot of other people are going to leave. Like, I
Yeah,
left, you left, you didn't like that. Other people here didn't like that. It's great. Everybody can see who's a good person in the end. Not who's right, but because I don't know if anybody can have that title of
yeah,
being right.
yeah,
But
me either.
who's trying their best? Who's good? Who's trying their best to be a good person is the best any of us can hope for. We need to give up on this
Yeah,
whole thing of who's right. Let's get the monoculture, orthodoxy against Protestants and Protestants against Gnostics and Gnostics against these Satanists and the Satanists against everybody, or whatever. However anybody wants to frame it. I don't know. I'm not here
yeah,
to frame it, but I'm just saying, let's get over that. And we're never going to convince other people to come into our way of thinking. Everybody's kind of where they're going to be.
yeah,
So how
yeah,
do we move forward?
yeah, and the path to moving forward, I feel, is to then start building your own structure and to like put your attention towards something like that, instead of to a pointless fight that doesn't
Yeah.
lead anywhere, because like
May
we
the
will
best
never.
structure.
Yeah,
Let's have a friendly competition without arguing with each other and go to our respective corners of the earth and build what we think we need to be building and see what the result of that is.
yeah, I think the world would be much more diverse for it. And like, I mean, some things might not work out, like whatever. I mean, the thing is, we have to try.
Yeah. Like world. Like we need to build some new wonders, and that could take any form, could even be a digital form of some kind.
Yeah, but in that sense, like, yeah, that's pretty much
Like
that.
something to prove something, some product out of our bickering, like something useful or beautiful that would benefit your community or even the world, because people used to always want to go visit these ancient wonders of the world. And then inevitably you would learn about the culture there. You would buy things there. It was good for everybody. Um,
Yeah.
and even people from other religions might want to come visit your wonder, like the pyramids. Everybody on the planet wants to go visit the pyramids
Mm-hmm.
of Giza.
Yeah.
There's pyramids in Central America too, but
Yeah. No, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of where things are going back towards, in that sense.
yeah,
Things are falling apart, and like the whole monoculture that is being that they're trying to enforce, is just not gonna work. I mean, the thing is that I've used to be stuck, or like, yeah, in that type of like, yeah, meme war for quite a while. And the thing
me
is
too.
that from what I've seen is that nothing has changed in that manner. Like, it hasn't really changed anything. The only thing that it did was just cement everyone's positions, really.
Yep.
So the thing
I
is,
mean, it
like,
was fun and games for a little while, but then it's just like there's nothing, and the memes got worse.
yeah,
There's some places that have good memes. They're not. I don't know. They're funny to me still, anyway.
yeah,
Symbolic memes. Um, he's funny still.
yeah, but like, Yeah, that's really what I like started to feel in that sense with like the whole meme stuff and all of that. And like, yeah, I mean, Gigachad, the whole Gigachad thing is just, yeah, its own new trend, its own new thing. And there's like people riding that wave, and yeah, but in the end, yeah, we
Yeah, men and women need to learn how to play with each other again, so to speak.
yeah.
Relax, not be so competitive. Like, what the hell? This is crazy. Like, just chill out, man.
Yeah,
Just chill out.
yeah. Basically that.
Yeah.
Just chill out. Be able to just, yeah, relate to the world again, and like and just go back into the world in that sense, and try to like, yeah, work on those things instead of
It
going.
depends on what culture you're in, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
there's all kinds of different subcultures,
true.
in any country. I've kind of just hung out in the hippie culture, I guess, out in the woods and the mountains, and there, we all like that type of stuff. And the men and women in that culture, they all just chill out. There's no competition. The primary thing is, if a chick is like into you, she'll let you know, man. Like, there's no need for flexing. There's no need. We're all just kind of jamming out, playing music. There's
Mm-hmm.
no need to be loud, and just talk, just conversate like you're doing here. And some chicks into you, she'll be like, hey, I like you. But in my opinion, I think that's how it is everywhere. Women select in humanity. Men don't really have a choice. If a woman's not into you, she's not into you, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
doesn't matter how
Yeah.
big and strong you are. If you're not cool, you're not kind of funny too and smart. No chick is gonna like you, and I think they're missing out on that. They think,
Yeah, but
I don't know what they.
yeah, but it's very particular, like what women like. I mean, I remember like one guy who was asking me for advice on things, and I
Mhm.
basically just told him, just be yourself. Don't listen to the weird Gigachad kind of stuff. Just and don't like act out in some weird like pickup culture manner or whatever kind of weird shit. Just be yourself, and it worked
Yeah.
out flawlessly. Just be
Oh yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, it's good to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
I think most men do have a set of weights in their bedroom. I don't think, but I think there's this emphasis on go to the gym, show off in front of the girl, and that's the primary way you're going to get women, and
yeah,
that's wrong.
yeah. It
You're
is.
going to meet women at high school, when you're in high school, not when you're growing up. When you get into college, if you miss that opportunity, then chicks are a little older, and they understand life. You understand life too a little more, and a lot of people get married and meet at college. If you miss that opportunity, man, you just got to go out into your community and start talking to people. You just got to be friendly. You just got to be a nice person. You got to, not creepy or whatever, but just talk to people, and you make friends with people. And there's data on this, that most people that get married meet through friends.
True.
So just be a friendly person and make friends, not trying to get laid, not trying to do this, just trying to be good, just trying to be a part of the community. And inevitably, some woman is going to notice that missed the boat too on marriage, and you guys meet. Um, there's all kinds of marriage statistics about this on the internet,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah,
missing out on that. They're not being friends with people. They're not being friendly. They might make friends with a person, and then that person's like, oh, I have a friend that's single too, and hey, you guys, maybe you should go out on a date. That would be cool. Friends love matchmaking. Me and my girlfriend have got a lot of our friends together, and now they're getting married, and it's wonderful, and it's a wonderful feeling too.
Oh yeah.
And when you're friends with people, you want to help each other. You don't want them to be lonely. You want people to be together.
Yeah. No, but that's what I feel like kind of is like necessary within this whole like crisis of masculinity and the whole Gigachad thing. Like exactly that kind of spirit, like of interacting
Yeah,
with each other. That's kind of what is missing, instead of like the hateful interaction of like, "Urgh, I'm Gigachad. I need to be on top,"
right.
and like that nasty shitting on each other. Like just
Yeah,
indeed like be friendly. And the thing is like, but also like don't go like too overboard to the degree of that you just let everyone just shit on you or something. But like
right.
it's like the right balance for it. But like, yeah, I mean, no need to be constantly like an aggressive macho man.
Yeah, and being a human is walking on a tightrope, without a net under you, and I don't know how to soothe that news or make that pill go down easier, but that's just how it is. We got to do all kinds of shit, keep our balance so that people want to be around us. Otherwise, people don't know what to do, and they get freaked out by you, or
Yeah.
they sense the imbalance. And I don't think you know modern psychology or whatever helps that much. Therapy, I don't. Communities can help. Actually trying to be friends with these people. I don't know how. I can't stand to be around people that are that way, but they gotta come to us, man. They gotta meet us stand and cut the act and
Mm-hmm.
talk. Just be like, I was being a dick, I was being an asshole, I was shitting all over everybody. Sorry, guys. And then we got to be like,
Yeah.
okay, it's all right. Just fucking cut it out, man, or we're gonna kick you out of the group. And just try to be cool. And we're all people, and we're all going through this shit together. So
Yeah.
let's move on.
Yeah. Indeed. Because like, yeah, because it doesn't help anyone to have like that constant like fake act on, trying to like be like this buff Gigachad and like hiding
Yeah,
your weaknesses, your that you're vulnerable or anything along
yeah,
those lines, because it doesn't help anyone, and it doesn't help one grow, first of all, and second of all, it's like it's it's really like boxing oneself in that sense of like who you truly are, because then you end up not really
yeah,
showing that at all. You just show like some gigachad mask, and in that sense, like the meme picture really is that like persona, that social mask they wear in that sense, and they don't end up
right.
showing who they truly are. And they don't, because they don't post pictures of who they are, but like they.
No, never.
Yeah, and that's sad, because I mean they should be they, they should be who they are in that sense.
Totally. And I think also they're forgetting that they're going to be old one day. Like, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and listen to what he says about working out and being a Giga Chad and being all these action movies. He said, I should have probably spent more time with my family. I probably should have spent more time doing some other things,
Yeah,
because now I'm older and my muscles, no matter how hard I work out, no matter how many steroids I could take, I risk killing myself doing this and that just to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
And people need to listen to the old Gigachads, man. They don't want to see them old. They don't want to think about it. They want to live in this narcissistic fantasy of, oh, this is my image. This is me.
yeah,
They're yeah. And they
yeah.
can't embody that though.
Yeah, no, but the whole thing with that is that's again related to like the hero archetype, because
Yeah.
the greatest failing of the hero archetype is that um it cannot or like, yeah, it doesn't want to perceive death or like aging or like anything of that. It's like that has that idea of it being like eternally youthful in that
Yeah.
sense. And the thing is that if you start to bring like aging, death, and life in general into the picture, like it falls away because that it just doesn't work. 'Cause, I mean, in the end, I mean, we all should be wanting people to be together and to have
Yeah.
families and to
Yes.
lead happy lives.
Absolutely. That's the goal. You know, that's my goal. Because I
Yeah,
see that's where people are the happiest.
yeah, yeah. And I guess like yeah, that's what yeah.
I see other people in other lifestyles. I won't get into it, but they're not as happy. They're not as happy, and they drink all the time, and they're always partying as a replacement. And then
Yeah.
they're getting into their 50s and still doing the partying, and their body can't keep up. They're gonna get real unhealthy. You know, they already are. So that's not good. But people with and that's not to say some families aren't don't have problems and
Yeah.
still have alcoholics in the family. But what I'm trying to say is that usually I see them. There's the family. There's around that's around. They're caring about each other, and they can help each other with their problems. I've seen people kick addictions and kick alcohol and do that because their family intervened. They cared. They
Mm-hmm.
slapped them around or tied them down to a chair for a few days. Got real extreme about it, but helped their people, their family, because they cared and loved them. Tough love. That's what's missing. Tough
Mm-hmm.
love, man.
Yeah.
Um, and those Gigachads think that's what they're doing. No, there's no love in what they're doing. They're not trying to help anybody or each other. They just have this incel revenge, um, that rage.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they're like they
Yeah.
never show their face. We don't know what they look like.
Yeah. But I feel like yeah, that's the whole thing, and I think that that in that sense, like yeah, like community and compassion, in that sense, and friendly competition would be something that would really help with that. I mean, it might not like yeah, it's not gonna like change everything, but I mean, it existing is gonna at least pull some people away from something along the lines. And the thing is that I kind of feel like this is something like that every person themselves can do for their own surroundings, their own like friend circle or whatever, like how large or small you see it. And the thing that those kind of actions will really affect things instead of like yeah just
Yeah, and I think that's reflected also in the popular stories we all love together, such as everybody loves Star Wars.
mm-hmm.
Why? It's because it's about a spaceship with a small crew, and they're like a family, and they're all interacting together. And then
Yeah.
you have all the video games and all the other things, the Mandalorian. It's the same thing. There's a small group of people, a community. They're a family. They're caring for each other. All of it. That's the story that people want to be living. Um,
Yeah, and that's the story
we never.
that we need to start embodying ourselves, I feel. Like to
Oh
really
yeah.
like bring that
Instead of
into
watching,
it.
yeah, instead of watching and fantasizing, I'm friends with Han Solo and Chewbacca. No, we need to go out and find our own friends and make our own families and forget all the Giga Chad shit. It's just gonna isolate you, man. Like the people that I heard
Yeah.
talk like that, I just quit talking to them. I'm like, you're wrong. That's not the way. But okay, I don't want to get in an argument so that you feel like a Giga Chad shitting all over me. So I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, but that's just the whole sad thing about
It
that.
is.
And the thing is that in the end, like yeah, I just hope like for any of the people, like yeah, that they would just be able to just be themselves, have a family if they so want to, and just and be fucking happy.
Yeah. I think I think this a very important stage is to go on an adventuring stage.
Yeah,
Be it teenage years, your 20s. Just go hit the road, man. Uh,
true.
I think that is a big, big thing because then you meet all kinds of different people, and then you start to see the patterns of personalities, and you kind of start to feel out what the world is trying to do. Um,
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
boxed in.
Yeah, but I mean, in some sense, the ancient cultures, like what they did, like when the boys would go out, basically of the tribe, of the community, of the village, they would go out
Mhm.
into the world, and they would meet all kinds of weird shit. And they would like
Yeah.
really interact with it. So like something like that definitely would help. I would feel like something like that, or like yeah, that
I
would
think it's
really
coming back with like the van life. You
yeah.
have all these people building their vans now. I think that's great. I think the hippies had a lot of stuff figured out, except, everybody that shared their wives, they all got really violent and they didn't know whose kid was whose, and all the communes broke down. I watched some documentaries about that. That seemed to be the primary downfall of how open should we be. Maybe there are
Yeah.
limits with how our minds are, or maybe one tribe can do this and another tribe needs to be a little more realistic and say, maybe we all do have a problem with this. And so
Yeah.
we're kind of going back through history and seeing, oh, I like this. We're cherry picking, and we're making our own kind of
Yeah.
salad of what we want.
Yeah,
It's a
but
good.
yeah. Yeah, but I feel like yeah, indeed with like the hippies, other than like yeah, those things with the communes, like how they broke down and stuff, is that like yeah, they kind of figured out like quite a few things. I would feel. I mean, and
Oh
the
yeah,
thing is that
and documented it for
yeah,
our benefit. They were honest.
yeah,
How
and
about you give peace a chance, man?
and
Yeah,
like I don't know, like
I, I
yeah,
think the hippies did some things right in the vein of, I don't think they had anything nefarious plans. Most of them, some gurus and stuff, I'm sure were like, "Ooh, look at
yeah,
all these people I can manipulate." But I think most people were trying to look for truth. They were like, "What is truth?" Like the Johnny Cash song. I'm a
yeah,
big a country fan because I think the outlaws in country music, like Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash, they were like, these hippies got a point over here. These Republicans got a point too. So what is the truth? Let's all figure it out. I don't know. And I really like
mm-hmm,
this thing that Johnny Cash said in front of Richard Nixon on stage. He sang this song when they were in the midst of, they called them the Hawks and the Doves, the people that were for Vietnam and the people that were against it and wanted peace.
yeah,
And Johnny Cash was like, I want to be a dove with claws. I think there's a way we could do both. We can have peace, but if you fuck with me, man, I'm going to tear your eyes out. So let's all calm down here and talk about it. And I think that's the way to look at it. That's how I look at things. Gotta
yeah.
have a balance.
Yeah. No, but I agree. It's about like yeah, it's not about being yeah aggressive, but really about like about being like being peaceful, but having the capacity for unleashing hell if necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah. Otherwise, people won't take you seriously and they'll steal your wife and burn your house down. I mean, it's happened a lot in history. That's what happens.
Well, in history, yes, a lot of that has happened in history, but like in that
And
sense,
it
yeah,
it likes reruns. It likes the reruns a whole lot.
yeah, seems to be, but yeah, in that sense, like, oh yeah, what it is about is like, is the way one carries oneself. And the thing is, like, that's not about being like some aggressive alpha male type, because that doesn't work. And the thing is, like, if you look at throughout history, also the nations, the empires that lasted were the ones that they 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 had like, yeah, they basically were the dove with the claws, in that sense. They didn't just go around being like an aggressive alpha male. Even, for instance, Julius Caesar didn't do any of that shit. Like the old emperor dude, because I
Right.
mean, if you look at how he approached things, he always made sure to show compassion towards the other Romans that he was fighting in the Civil War. And
Yeah.
that's how he won, through compassion, because people started to flip side. If he wouldn't have done it, and if he would have been an aggressive alpha male, he would have lost. But it's
Yeah.
through,
I got a story to tell you about wolves, and maybe you already know this story, but
yeah,
for those of the people listening, um, whenever the wolves are trying to figure out who the alpha male is, and they're getting challenged by another wolf in the pack, they get into a circle. All the wolves get into kind of a circle, and then the two wolves fighting get in the middle, and they fight. And eventually, one of them, starts to whimper and gets on their back. And a few things can happen. The now dominant wolf can kill the wolf right there. It can spare it, and put it to the lowest part of the totem pole on the wolf pack, or it can exile it. Um, what's interesting is that when the wolf that wins and is dominant rips its throat out and kills it, all the other wolves in the circle become hyper aggressive, and they all attack that wolf and kill it. And then they have to repeat the process to figure out who the alpha is. So,
huh?
particularly,
Wow,
yeah, did you know that story? I thought
no,
that was fascinating,
it
about wolves.
it's fascinating.
They do not tolerate um, blind rage, because they know it will destroy them all, and they have to kill that guy because he's crazy, he's evil. Why did you do that? He was submitting, he was whimpering, and you fucking killed that guy. We could have used him. I liked him even, and I just wanted to see who's going to win the fight. And you got to take it to that level. We all got to kill you, man. And it's an instant. It's not even. They go into a frenzy,
Mm-hmm.
and then they got to figure it out again. Um, and whoever submits, and then the wolf, lets him stay. He gives him a shit job, and he can work his way back up. He was taught a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I think that's very interesting that even they do that, but we don't do that. The people that rip your throat out, we promote them.
Mm-hmm. That I think that's like, yeah, that's a wrong approach. Because I
Yeah,
mean,
we got to stop that shit. If we see somebody ripping somebody's throat out, we have to frenzy and attack, proverbially, like say something like, "Hey man, that's fucked up. Stop that. You stop bullying that guy. What you're doing here is wrong."
mm-hmm.
Um, that would be great. That would be more natural. And I think a lot of us feel that inside of us when
Yeah.
we see something, but we don't have the courage to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves don't need the courage. They just know instinctively this will end up in hell. This will end up badly for everybody if we don't do something absolutely immediately.
Yeah, but
But
yeah. Yeah, but the thing is that that type of behavior, it just isn't conducive for leading a pack, of like keeping it together, because there's always there needs to be that, like, if you would bring it to people, that there needs to be that element of a social element there, and an element of like mercy and compassion with regarding to how like the leader of the pack, or like the ruler operates. If it is all geared towards like just basically everyone just like slitting each other's throats to get to the top, it's just it dooms
Yeah.
the entire it dooms everything, because the thing is like you cannot build a society off of that. And it's like no wonder why many things are breaking down, because you're not relating to anyone in that manner, and no one will want to work with you if you
Right.
act in that manner. And the thing is that the only thing what that creates, that type of behavior, is just a world of individuals that are just out against each other. And it's kind of what like a lot of the Gigachad dudes are kind of seeing. But the thing is, what they're not seeing is like that like cutthroat behavior is kind of what keeps this in place in the fucking first place. And if we cut that shit and actually start treating each other as humans, and being like and in that sense like show that compassion, and be like, okay, well, you lost, but I'll let you be, basically, and like
Right.
let them work their way up again, or whatever form that takes. Being like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad enough, or like it's worse enough for the person that has lost. They're like like how Jordan Peterson would say, they're like a defeated lobster. I mean,
Right.
that's kind of punishment enough. I mean, why go all the way and act like so overly aggressive towards it, and go or like, yeah, get that feeding frenzy on, and shit on those type of people. It's like
Depression is supposed to be a warning signal of we're doing the wrong thing, going in the wrong direction. It's supposed to be a lesson, but people don't understand that, and they get stuck and wallow in depression and take the drugs. Also, Jordan Peterson said you give it drugs, and then it doesn't act defeated. It puffs up. It puts its arms out like it had a victory.
yeah.
It's a false victory. You have a false compass now all throughout humanity, taking these drugs that's fucking up their compass, their internal sense of meaning of what is good, what is bad. We already naturally know.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is everything going on around us is awful. It's horrible. The way we work, the way we go to school, the way we treat each other, the way we relate and have families that break up, and then you have to see your kids on the weekend. Everything around us is hell. And we're not wanting to change that. We want to change how much we can handle. And that's fucked up. And I think that's a core of the Gigachad thing too. It's like, suck it up, do this, do that. No, everything is fucked up, man. It is bad. Let's change it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Like, why not change it? And like, yeah, and it really comes down to like, yeah, relating to each other, like build up that like spirit of community again in that sense, and stop all the other weird shit that's not conducive, and doesn't work towards building society or any civilization off of.
No peace whatsoever. Just a constant war.
Yeah.
Of you name it, of XYZ, any whatever you want. But that's the future. With that, I think.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing with like the whole meme war too. It's like it's never gonna end, and it's not like this. But how it's happening, it's gonna go on forever, in that sense, it's eternal, and it's like, yeah, and that kind of brought up in me like, well, I'm kind of like getting sick of it after like, I don't know, like 4 years of it. I was like, I'm sick of this shit. I'm like, I want something else. I want some peace. How about some peace,
Yes.
people?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I felt the same way. I had to get out there and find some new terrain. I was constantly getting battered by the ocean of memes, and it's I had enough.
Yeah,
Went to greener pastures.
yeah, me too, me
Yeah,
too. And yeah, I mean that's I think that pretty much sums that up. Pretty much like
yeah,
yeah, that's pretty much that with like the whole thing and like yeah, and it's fucked up, but like we all have the power like to change shit, to like work on ourselves and in that sense like try to relate better to others and not act in like weird like aggressive manner towards each other or shitting on each other and try to extend that hand of compassion towards each other and like
yeah.
build each other up instead of tearing each other down constantly. I mean, because in the end, like, yeah, if you think about the big picture, and I mean, of like that we would like to have some kind of society running, like you would want to do that. Because I mean, if you really look at like how it looks like if everything goes to shit and breaks down, because not like a society cannot run on this type of behavior, not long term. What's just gonna end up happening is that all of the layers that we have built up now over all these centuries are gonna fall away at some point because shit is gonna it cannot continue like this, like how we're operating.
No.
And when that
What I think is interesting is that all throughout history, when civilizations collapse, the one thing that survives are monasteries, and not monasteries where there's just monks. Like there's families up there. People are having families. There's women up there and children, and then they start to produce things like grow grapes and make wine. And then as civilization kind of the dust settles, let's say, and then small settlements start to form after like 30 years, these people would start to trade wine with them and things. And those monasteries inevitably became the new cities.
yeah
And then again, that city would form. Oh, it's too crowded here. I'm going to go build a monastery somewhere off far away, and the cycle would repeat. This happened in China, for instance, a lot. I really like how China has written everything down for like 5,000 years about their dynasties, and they have all kinds of interesting psychological and social data on what happens in this rise and fall. In fact, they have a terminology. They call it the warrior phase, the exploration phase, the merchant phase,
yeah
and then the destruction. Everybody rebels, the rebellion phase.
Yeah, and that I've done a lot of research into that. Also, like looking into exactly China due to that, and then looking like to ancient Rome too, and like a lot of the ancient societies, and like yeah, they have it nailed. And the thing is that we've had this like merchant phase now, and we're currently in that destruction phase. And the
Yeah,
thing is that. Really really what I feel is to start building something new, that like that new monastery, that new place where people can come together, support each other,
yeah, and be
be
safe.
there and be safe.
Yeah, because that's a lot of where martial arts came from.
Yeah.
Is monasteries. People isolated. If they see someone out, they'll like take them out, man. They don't want anybody to find out where the monastery is at. So they had to, ninja around, so to speak. And all the families learned it. Everybody learned how to use weapons, crossbows. Everybody figured out what to do, and became an effective, not military force, but defensive force to make sure nobody ever found out who they were, where they were, and it was a mystery. and if you did go looking, you die. And that's what happens. And for years and years, these places would be isolated because people would go look, like, oh, there's women out there, there's gold, there's wine, and they would have to take care, so to speak. They were the doves with talons.
Yeah.
And they made it. They were the meek that inherited the earth. The warriors, all these Gigachads, they're getting ready for the warrior phase, let's say. But what that means is most of you are going to die. You're not going to make it through. You're not going to be in a safe place. You're going to be constantly scrapping and fighting and trying to eat and listening to the big alpha Gigachad, and maybe you're a beta Gigachad, and it's still going to be the same shit, man. It's still going to be the same shit. You're just going to have to eat someone else's shit instead of the other way around.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, in Norse mythology, there's that story also about it, that it's called Ragnarok. The thing is that the people who survive are the ones that are in the woods. They survive. The warriors on both sides of the conflict in the destruction phase, what happens to them? They annihilate each other. They're all dead. Maybe some of them survive. But that's it. And they destroy each other. While the ones that are just happily building their own little community hidden away somewhere in the woods, they survive. That's what that mythological story tells. And the thing is that not just that one, but like you can see that with those monasteries too. It's like it's the same thing, the same.
I didn't know that. They always make it sound like such a, I guess, a glorious battle or something, but they don't highlight that part, that who survives it though. There's a next chapter there. There's people that live, and it's the people that are like, fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm not doing this. I'm going to go hang out and make a family in the woods and, smell you later.
Yep, and they are the ones that then ended up surviving and repopulating the earth in that story. Because the rest of the rest of them all died. They all died in the fucking fight. There were some of the gods that survived. Most of the gods that survived were the ones that did not participate.
Yep.
So it's like, it's literally like, yeah, that's kind of the moral of that story. But the thing is that that it's really like taken like, oh, it's this glorious battle, and I'm gonna be like so epic and glorious in that manner. But the thing is, like, if you look at it from a historical perspective, you do not want to be there. Maybe because the thing is that, yeah, you might be doing something epic. Someone might tell about you, but the people who are gonna tell about you are the ones that gonna hide in the woods and survive. They might hear about the story of this epic Gigachad who fought against the horde of God knows what. But like, other than that, nothing else is left. And I think like that, like maybe that's some kind of appeal, because I mean, at least I died a Gigachad and I accomplished something. But like,
you get to go to Valhalla now and dine forever in the halls. Like, good for you, man. That's good. And but for other people, maybe we want to continue our bloodline, and instead of getting into Valhalla, maybe we're going to go do that instead.
Yeah, I mean, and in that sense, like, learn from a lot of the ancient cultures. Like, I mean, the fucking Spartans had that with certain of their battles. The men that were warriors that didn't have any sons yet, they wouldn't be allowed to fight in those battles, because they
that's interesting.
Because they had to, it was very important to them that the bloodline continues. because they would want
Yeah.
the bloodline to continue of those said warriors. They didn't want them to just send them off, be killed, and not and then you just lose a large chunk of the male population.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would suck. And that's like very bad idea. And the thing is that the whole Gigachad thing with like building up for the Great War or whatever other ideas that are roaming around. The thing is that it will just end up being a dead end for that bloodline, and it is not going to solve anything in that manner either, because the thing is that it just ends up both sides wiping each other out, and that's it. Because I mean, if you look at like at the situation, it seems to be rather like 50-50 with regards to the people who probably end up fighting. And it's like they're gonna just wipe each other out, and that's it.
Yeah, nobody's gonna win.
Yeah, no one wins.
Everybody just loses people, you know,
Yeah.
and then they get angrier, and then they lose even more, and then everybody loses. I mean, that's what the whole story of the Godfather is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole idea behind, you know, trying to have a police force of people that are outside of the incident dealing with it and seeking justice so that people don't have a Hatfield and McCoy feud, you know. But we got to work on that too. You know, our justice system sucks. Cops don't really give a shit about you. They don't really want to help protect you. We have a problem in our community right now with a cop, you know, abusing women, you know, going around to the high schools and abusing them. And we're going to have a big town meeting about it, trying to get him fired. So there's hope in that. You know, the only hope is shame, public shaming. You know, when people they change their tune. Even politicians, anybody, you know, when people start paying attention to them and put eyes on you, then they start to sweat. Then they scurry away. You know, all these narcissistic people. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the general thing with like with that, because once they've been found out about like what or like what they've been up to, what they've been doing, then yeah, they just scurry away, go somewhere else, rinse and repeat.
Hopefully. Yeah, everybody's been posting about this cop in our community on Facebook. They just found out, saw him around in a uniform again. They're like, I thought he got fired, and somehow he's not. There's so many bad people in our government that slip through the cracks, and now the community has to band together, which thank God they are.
Yeah.
But you know, we got to do the work that our taxes are supposedly paying, and I think it's going to just shift to a point where people just don't pay their taxes anymore. They're just going to kind of like, we can handle it. We'll have our own community server, let's say, where we can have our own Facebook for town and our own Wi-Fi. I think things are heading that direction. Not in a bigger centralized thing, but we're definitely decentralizing away from everybody.
It seems to be, yeah.
And as I said earlier, you know, like everybody has old cars, like 50s, 60s, 70s cars, vans, trucks. We're doing the same thing with servers and Wi-Fi technology and everything like that too.
Yeah.
You know, it's still useful stuff, just if you know, have a lower bandwidth. And who's to say you can't operate a whole town on that? You know, who's to say you need a ultra high definition screens and all this shit? What if you just need to have a billboard and send messages to each other on your phone, you know, and have a whole town organize a community that way? You know, that would be revolutionary in of itself. And that technology is accessible and cheap at warehouses everywhere.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely like yeah. It's kind of what it is starting to feel like things are gonna get more like decentralized in that manner. Well, it would be a good thing, to be honest. Like let people do their own thing and start forming their own little communities and like yeah.
Have you ever heard of this game? This game called Stardew Valley?
Yeah, I have.
that's become a really popular game. Mainly because girlfriends and boyfriends can play it together. Husbands and wives and families can get in there and play it together. And what it is you're building a farm.
Yeah.
And you're talking to people, giving people gifts. You have to find out what they like. You build up a heart with them, and you can become friends with them or marry somebody or whatever. And there's like an Amazon there. They call it Joja Mart. And you used to work there, and you were miserable. And one day you just said, "Fuck this, I quit." And you quit your job in the game, and then you go out somewhere. And your uncle has this farm, and your uncle always wanted you to visit or something, or your grandpa or whatever, and you never did, and you decide to just go out there, and they give you this farm, and you have to start it from scratch. It has weeds everywhere. The greenhouse is destroyed. I think that's what people are doing right now. You know, I don't know if that game did something or if that dude was just tapped into the zeitgeist of how people are feeling. But
yeah,
people are like, let's get this Amazon out of here. I'm going to make my own shirts. I'm going to make some leather things. I'm going to make jewelry. I'm going to grow crops and make my own honey and make my own zucchini bread and sell it to people. And that's what's happening. And it's great. And they're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, myself too. Like, I quit my job, and I'm trying myself to like work towards something like that too. Like
Yeah, man, that's the way. Yes,
Yeah.
just start your own business, man. Just have an online thing going on. Because I had a computer shop with an actual, brick building. And but when this virus hit, they did it. I couldn't get my parts here on time. It took like a month to get my stuff from China, and nobody in America made my parts, so I was done for. I couldn't pay my rent. I needed a constant cash flow basically to make my business run. So I've had to do the same thing, man. The past year, it's been the hardest year of my life, probably. I'm gonna be honest, but trying to take it positively. Like, one door closes, another one opens. And trying to find out how to make money. And I found ways. I made a workshop in my house and sell things online, and I organized things in the community, and I just actually became a lot closer to my community. I started getting out into it and getting to know people in a different way. And stop being so distracted by the rat race and, I need to make this much this quarter and do this, and because it's tough running a business, you got to constantly worry about it, and and I guess it gave me and everybody else a chance to like breathe for once, and I didn't realize it was an opportunity for me to do that because there's nothing I could do. It was out of my hands. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything to save my business, and it drove me nuts. Drives a man crazy when you're losing your income, but. Everybody stuck by me. My girlfriend didn't take off into the night or anything. We all figured out a way to get some alternative sources of income. And it's free. I have a lot more time now, too. The bills are paid for. There's no more worrying. I didn't know there were these alternatives because I didn't think I had to seek out alternatives, and now I have, and everything's fine. So, I think everybody's experiencing that, and we're not freaking out as much anymore, and we're getting on the internet talking to each other because we have time to do that. We're all working from home now, I think. And that opens up a lot of other opportunities for this nation building, in whatever form that may take for specific tribes of people. But I think that, that's what I'm doing in my community. I'm just trying to build something different. I'm talking about all this old server stuff. That's what I'm trying to do in my town. I'm trying to get like our own internet, just something simple that can send, in case everything else goes down. Because a lot of people around here in my community, they get banned on Facebook for their posts because they're conservative. Everybody around me is, a conservative person. I'm not exactly, but in my community they are, and we don't have a way to really talk, because or share things or anything like that, because you make a post about one political thing or another, you're not allowed to talk for 90 days or something, or make any posts. You can private message each other, but it's a
Yeah, but I mean, if it would like end up in bringing the community like closer together like that, that would be great. I would
yeah.
say. Yeah, and I think like yeah, that's probably where it would end with end on that note. Is like community. That's kind of like yeah the big important step with regards to all of this shit. What's going on?
Yeah, and specifically with Gigachads, they need to just learn how to play with women in a friendly way, and not, like flirting. I don't think, all flirting is a a sexual thing all the time. It's an interaction between men and women.
Yeah.
There's lines, of course. There's limits to to what that means, but men and women pick on each other when they're friends, when they're friendly with each other. Even when people are married or whatever. It's just there is a way that men and women interact that's appropriate, that a lot of people have never seen. I think you see it in some older movies. That's why I only like watch older movies anymore. But there we had a protocol that everybody was comfortable with. We need to get back to that type of thing, figuring out what that means.
Yeah.
Instead of all these assertions. I think there's like this revitalization of like the Roman, Spartan, Ultra, Viking, Giga warrior, and yeah. No, we need to learn just to play with each other, play along, and be friendly. That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Well, it was nice to have you on again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I wish more people showed up.
Yeah,
are we still recording?
Yeah, we are.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a few people on here, but yeah, it'll get even more interesting. More people we get on here. We had 4 people on last time. Did you record that one too?
Yeah, I did. It's online.
Okay, cool. I need to check that out. I was telling people about our conversations. I need to send them some links to our conversations. They'd probably get a lot out of them.
Yeah, definitely.
And the other ones you did, I've been checking out your other videos. You got some good videos, man.
Thanks. Just trying my best, really.
It shows, man. You built a good thing here. You got a good thing going on. Got good people around you.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. But it's like but it's the community that like is the important factor here. Like the community talking to each other, and like talking a lot over the last years to a lot of these people.